In the Middle Ages, some knights earned this status through unparalleled battlefield cunning, some through sheer willpower, and others through a legendary presence that resonated for centuries. Today, we unveil 7 medieval knights whose power extended far beyond their own time. 7. Willam Marshall. Our journey begins with a man many historians simply call the greatest knight who ever lived. Willam Marshall started his life with nothing, yet rose to become the single most influential warrior in England. He survived 5 kings, not as a passive servant, but as the man those kings relied on during the darkest hours of their rule. Tournaments in his time weren't friendly games. They were brutal, lawless battlegrounds where men were maimed or killed for sport, and Marshall dominated them. He won so often and with such precision that his enemies sometimes preferred to surrender rather than face him. Even in his final years, when age should have slowed him, he still fought like a man half his age. When he finally died, England mourned him like a national treasure. The king himself said, "Today we have lost the finest knight in all the world." And honestly, he wasn't exaggerating. 6. Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar. Next is a name that carries a mythical weight even today. El Cid was more than a knight. He was a force that both Christian and Muslim rulers in medieval Spain respected, feared, and desperately wanted on their side. And sometimes both sides hired him in the same war. He was a master tactician, a champion duelist, and a commander whose men would follow him into hell itself. Cities surrendered at the sight of his banner. Enemies knew that if El Cid was on the field, they needed twice the soldiers or twice the luck. And his legend didn't end with his death. After he passed, his soldiers famously placed his body on his horse, secured his armor, and sent him riding into battle one last time. Even in death, the enemy fled. That is the kind of power very few men in history have ever held. 5. Bertrand du Guesclin. Bertrand du Guesclin looked nothing like the ideal knight. He wasn't tall, handsome, or noble in appearance, but beneath the rough exterior lived a mind built for war, a hunter disguised in armor, a predator who understood fear, timing, and strategy better than any polished noble in France. He rose during the 100 Years' War, turning hopeless battles into victories through relentless, unpredictable tactics. English commanders feared him not because he had the flashiest armor, but because he always struck where they least expected. If a castle fell in the night, it was usually because du Guesclin had already been inside the walls before anyone noticed. His soldiers adored him, his enemies respected him. And France, well, France owes more victories to this one unlikely knight than to almost any king. 4. Thomas de Beauchamp. Thomas de Beauchamp wasn't just a knight. He was a battlefield architect. He understood positioning, timing, and troop movement with an almost frightening level of clarity. At the Battle of Crécy, a moment where England stood against a much larger French force, his strategies turned certain defeat into overwhelming victory. He trained elite archers who could change the outcome of a war with a single volley. He organized forces like chess pieces, pushing enemies exactly where he wanted them to fall. Under his command, an English army didn't just fight, it operated like a machine. In an age dominated by muscle and brute strength, Beauchamp proved that the sharpest weapon on the battlefield was the mindestance. 3. Jan Žižka. Imagine a knight losing his sight and then becoming more dangerous than he ever was before. Jan Žižka, one of the greatest military commanders in world history, fought his early battles with full vision. But even after he went completely blind, he continued to win every single battle he commanded. He invented war wagons, mobile fortresses equipped with early firearms, and used them to shatter armies far larger and far better equipped. Crusaders feared him because he fought like someone who saw the battlefield better than sighted commanders. Not a single army ever defeated him. Not once. That kind of record doesn't belong to a human, it belongs to a legend. 2. Edward the Black Prince. Born into royalty, Edward could have lived a comfortable life. Instead, he chose to become one of the most devastating knights of the 14th century. At 16, his first major battle ended with veteran French knights whispering that they had met a demon in armor. He perfected scorched earth warfare, burning supply lines, destroying morale, and crushing armies long before they met him on the field. His raids tore deep scars into France. His tactical vision reshaped medieval combat. Where the Black Prince rode, devastation followed. 1. Richard the Lionheart. And finally, the man whose name became a symbol of unstoppable force, Richard the Lionheart. He was a king in title, but a warrior in soul. Tall, powerful, and terrifying in battle, Richard led from the front, never hiding behind ranks of soldiers. During the Crusades, even his greatest enemy, Saladin, said, "This man is a lion among men, courage unmatched on this earth." When your enemy respects you more than your allies, you know you are something rare. Richard didn't shape battles. He shaped entire wars. Kingdoms felt safer or more endangered, depending on whether he was riding east or west. These 7 knights weren't ordinary men. They were the kind of warriors who bend history when they take a single step. Some served kings, some opposed them, some fought for faith, others for glory, and a few simply because war was the only language they ever truly understood. But they all shared one undeniable truth. They were too powerful for their own time, too skilled to be forgotten, too influential for their age to contain them. Their stories still echo across the centuries, reminding us that in the Middle Ages, one man, one sword, and one moment of courage could change the world. Tell me, whose legend should we uncover next?